Hey guys, as you probably know, things are starting to trickle into Skyward a little bit. So I want to take a moment and talk to you about that a little bit. And to help with that, I'm going to remind you about a document that I gave you way back in week one, all right, called Learning Practices, Growth, and Grades, okay? And I'm not going to go over the whole thing with you, but I want you to just understand kind of how I approach things, especially as we're starting to get some scores in Skyward. And I want to remind you of this. Skyward is not my grade book, all right? And I know that sounds a little funny, perhaps, but Skyward to me is just a recording and communication tool, all right? And so right now, I am basically just recording your learning experiences in my class when I put them into Skyward. And you're going to see one of two things. You're either going to see a learning check, which I call an LC, or you're going to see a learning task, all right? Here is the difference between the two. A learning check is specifically designed to give you an opportunity to do a task, all right? So I can give you feedback on specific grade level standards and targets, all right? And you will either find one of three scores. You'll find a 1, which means great, you did exactly what I expected you to do, what I needed you to do, and I return that to you with a 1, and I register a 1 in Skyward. If you see a 0.7, that is an invitation. All right, it is basically communication to you saying, hey, there's still better out there. All right, and so based on my feedback, I expect you to now go back and make the changes that I've asked you to make those revisions and then resubmit. The goal here is to get everyone to a 1. All right, and so the 0.7 is basically just an invite saying, go back, look at the comments, the feedback in my comments, all right, make the changes that I've asked you to make, resubmit, and I will check it, and if it's ready to go, I'll give you 1. If not, I'll return it to you still at a 0.7 with further recommendations for what you need to do. But again, the goal is to get to a 1, or you're going to see a 0, which means it's missing. And basically, the idea there is for you to still get it in, but I can't give you any points, all right? And I can't help you get to better until I know where we start. And so you have to do the work to let me know where we go from there, all right? The other one is a learning task. For example, your journey journal from last week that you'll see in there, and it's either a 1 or a 0. Something like that is either complete or it's not, all right? And so between the two, learning tasks and learning checks, the learning checks are more important because I will remind you of this, all right? Down here at the bottom of this document is a practice that I call select and support final grading. You and I are going to come together at the end. We're going to look back at your story, your record, and we're going to see what you have done this semester. And you're going to come to the table with a grade in mind, all right, that you feel like you can support with the record that you have created over the course of our time together, all right? And so I'll remind you, too, that there are no, I got to move this. There are no Fs in my class, all right? The lowest grade you can get is a D. If you've done the work and the things that you need to do, then you are in the running for an A, B, or C for you to choose and then support that, all right? So the goal is to get everyone to an A, all right? That is truly and sincerely my goal, and that's why I do things the way that I do. But I can't magic you there, folks, all right? So you've got to do the work for me so I can give you feedback and we can arrive at that better together. Anyway, hopefully this is starting to make sense. Please don't worry about the percentages in Skyward. That is not your grade. That is just a let's consider it just kind of an indicator that maybe you need to pay attention to what's going on with the record and then make changes so we can change the record. All right. Hopefully this helps. It won't be the last time we talk about this, but I figured now that we're getting stuff into Skyward, it's time to start talking about it. All right. Please let me know if I can be of further help.